what's good, everybody? Welcome to the Real Talks podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and I'm with a good friend of mine who I met through our attendance in WealthCon like a few months ago. Um, and I just want to talk to my boy, kind of ask him about his specific industry, his niche, why he got into this space, and just kind of learn about his story and what his thoughts are. But uh, none other than my boy right here, Daryl Santos. What's up, my brother? How's it going, man?
What's going on, Jay? Hey, thank you again for the opportunity to jump on your platform here, man. Doing well, blessed for sure.
Awesome, awesome, brother. For our audience that have not met you yet, could you introduce yourself and tell us the type of business you're in?
Yeah, for sure. So, everyone, my name is Daryl Santos, aka Daryl, my insurance guy, aka Community Connector. Let me know what you need, and I'll do my best to help you out. So, as you guys can see, I'm with Farmers Insurance, Daryl Santos Agency. Been in the industry for just over 4 years now. Being an agency owner for just over 4 years, but been in the insurance industry since 2012. So
Wow.
I was Jake from State Farm. People asking me what I was wearing. I was a adjuster that came out to your home to adjust a
Yeah.
claim when you had a flood or even some fire stuff that was going on, break-ins. Then I eventually transitioned over to becoming a business consultant for farmers agents. And
Wow.
that journey alone was very interesting because I was a advisor essentially or a consultant
Yeah.
for not for 1099, and I was a W-2 with no business owner experience, right?
Yeah.
So that alone was interesting, but was able to help two agents. One agent go from five figures to six figures, and then another
Nice.
agent go achieve an achievement club where like top 5% of insurance agents, farmers insurance agents actually attend, and this is like in the
Wow.
nation. And an agency came available 4+ years ago. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, Daryl, would you like to take on this opportunity?" And vetted it, and here I am now, just being an insurance agent.
That's
So
pretty
that's the
awesome,
journey
man.
of how I got to where I am at right now.
That's pretty cool. Cool. I kind of want to talk to you a little bit more about the business side of things, right? You said you're an agency business owner, right? So is that more like a
Correct.
franchise with with farmers as well?
Yeah, so essentially, this is my agency, my book of business. So again, I am 1099. I have
Yeah.
two employees with me. Team members is what I prefer to call them,
Yeah.
because again, that's how this business works. It requires a team. So yeah,
Absolutely.
so that's what it is. I own this book of business. I have those two. This was took over from a pre-existing agent that's been around for 10 years, from my understanding, and the journey has been interesting to say the least.
I see, I see. And then so that being said, I mean, you started in the insurance space since 2012, but what really got you into this particular industry?
Yeah, yeah, I make a joke of this and say, "Oh yeah, I came out of my mom's womb saying I wanted to be an insurance agent from the get-go." And the truth is like I actually just fell into it. I was really a result of the people who I was surrounding myself around. My buddy and I, where we went to college together, we both graduated from Cal State in business, Cal State Bakersfield in business,
Yeah.
and I was a custodian still, believe it or not, for another year, even after I got my bachelor's degree in
Wow.
business with,
Yeah.
again, double concentration in finance and small business management. And it wasn't my boss ended up telling me, he's like, Daryl, you got your degree. You need to get out of here. I was like, oh, okay. During that time, you're young and you're just like, everything's working out well. I was working 4 hours, getting my job done in 2 hours. Just worked
Yeah.
efficiently and got paid for the time, right? And my
Yeah.
buddy eventually reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, they're hiring here at State Farm, and I'll be a referral for you, and you could let's see, I could help you get a job." And went through that interview process. They hired me on, and that's really how it got started. And I reason to be there. One was because my goals after graduating from college was to work for a Fortune 50 company,
Yeah.
um, to also, what was it? Yeah, work for a Fortune 50 company, and then also be able to. I know I'm going to be a grown up one day, so I figured I need to know how the insurance works, because at that time I was informed of, or my perspective of the insurance companies was that they were always just trying to keep their money and they were not trying to pay out anything. And so
Mm,
I figured out, why not learn the rules from the inside, so then if anything were to happen to me, I know when they're trying to
yeah,
be shady.
I see. Wow, and that's pretty cool because I actually like I have had a couple of my buddies. Actually, one of my good friends of mine currently, it's he's handling an insurance claim with State Farm because their house in Los Angeles got damage from the rain. If
Mm,
you remember, I think sometime at the beginning of the year, it rained so much out there, it flooded some parts of the city, and for them, their house got damaged. It was an older home, excuse me, and
hmm
they ended up having to the roof leak, and turns out there's a lot of mold and all that stuff, so they're currently working with State Farm right now, but nonetheless,
mm.
man, like what kind of insurance do you help people? I know there's like home insurance, and what could you go over some of the insurance policies that you guys help us with?
Yeah, so most people know farmers insurance for just primarily doing home or
Yeah,
even just only doing auto, which is still interesting to this day because they've been around just as long as almost State Farm, if not just as
yeah.
long. And so with farmers insurance, we offer homeowners insurance, which would be your primary, secondary, even short-term rentals. Now we provide
Oh,
some of that additional coverage. And then we also do landlords. So again, if you have a rent, you're an investor, you have some rental property, that's
yeah,
something that we have offered in the past. We also do car insurance, so auto insurance for your personal use, and going over to the toys, golf carts, ATVs, RVs, campers, as well as motorcycles. Those were things that we are known to offer, and I say
yeah,
known to offer because of, again, the changes in the insurance world right now. But
yeah.
that's what we also offer: life insurance and then business insurance. So
Oh,
there's a
nice.
plethora of things, but what we really specialize in, given the changes, were restaurants, retail stores, um,
Mm,
what is it, offices, and then
yeah,
services. So these could be services such as like auto repair services and workers comp. So yeah, there's a lot of, just on the basic level, that's what we could do. But as in anything, you could give information and spit it out. But I think what makes a difference for the consumer is having a good agent who's knowledgeable about what you're trying to accomplish, so then that you really have your assets protected.
that's
Because most people, just when they think about insurance, they think of how much, how cheap can I get it? And I only have to get it because it's required by law.
right. Yeah, it's true. That's very,
Yeah.
very true.
So we're
Now,
on a mission, really. I was just going to
go.
say really quick, Jay, was that, again, I really feel like, in my position and with my team, we understand education's a big piece of what we do. So we're really changing the mindset what of the importance of insurance, and not just feeling like people are trying to feel like they're being sold something, right? We want
Right.
them to understand it, so then they choose to want to buy it because it provides the benefit that they're actually looking for.
No, I see. I definitely understand the value in that, and no, that's good. That's a good understanding because I didn't even know that you guys do business insurances as well. Let's talk a little bit about that because ideally, our audience, as I just started this podcast, so the ideal audience that we want to have be, showing or watching the show would be business
Hmm.
owners, small business, small to medium size, and entrepreneurs, right? So just actually an amazing topic for us to discuss. So that way we can educate
Yeah,
them as well, including myself, with that. So with business insurances, I'm not sure how much knowledge you have in there, but how
sure.
would that protect us as business owners who, let's say, for example, I have a recruiting agency. That's my main source of business. And then now obviously I'm a 10x business coach and advisor. So it's a franchise
Mm-hmm.
program with Cardin Ventures with Grant Cardone and Brandon Dawson. And
Right.
for a small business owner like let's say an automotive shop, like
Mm-hmm.
how does that work for their business, and for let's say for a service business like mine as well, in recruiting, how does that help us on the business insurance side?
Yeah, for sure. No, these are all great questions. And I'll start off with the automotive repair service business.
Yeah.
And then a lot of what I'll share there will correspond to the other business that you were talking about, like the recruiting agency, and so on.
Yeah.
So, one of the easiest ways to understand commercial insurance is that it's a glorified homeowner policy.
Hmm.
So with a homeowner policy, you have the building coverage, right? And then you have your personal property coverage. So let's say personal property, if you got your house, you turned it upside down, you shook it, everything that fell to the roof, that would be considered your personal property, right? In the commercial side, that would be considered business personal property. It's really right. It's not
Yeah.
too complicated. And then you have liability. You have you have liability under your homeowners, and then on your business, it's general liability. There's
Hmm.
additional things there too, to take a look at, but on the very surface level, that's really what it is. You're looking for, if you own the building, you'll have structure. And then if you
Hmm.
have your businesses has, again, like my cadenza, my computers, furniture, that's all my business personal property. So for an automotive shop in your example, I normally would ask, hey, can I take a look at your lease? And not a lot of agents, from my knowledge, ask for the lease of the business owner. And the reason why that's
Yes.
important is because that lease is going to dictate what the business owner is going to be responsible for. And
Okay.
again, I'll ask for it. So I sometimes won't receive it, but then when I don't receive it, I was like, hey, because I have not received your lease and I couldn't review what you will be responsible for or what you must do for the property, I can't tell you 100% that I got you protected. But
Yeah.
based on what I know, here you go. So that's why you want to have an agent work to, one, see if they even ask you for the lease, and then also for a business owner who receives the lease, I would look for those two words, will and
Mhm.
must. And
I
then don't
see.
even read the contract, just underline those two words, will and must, because that will dictate what you are required to do and what you must do to take care of the property or what to do as the business owner. So because there's some people who have are no responsibility for the building maintenance, but then
Right.
there's others saying, hey, if the AC goes out, you're going to be responsible for it. So I'm sure in your hometown, but in Bakersfield, we're 100 plus degrees in the summer, so if your
Right.
AC goes out, that could knock out profits,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, so that's where I would begin, is taking a look at a lease for the business owner.
Very.
From there, I would go into seeing if you are responsible for the building. If you're not responsible for the building, I would move on to what type of business you're in and looking at what the risk that you will be coming across. So depending on your size of business, for a automotive spot, you're going to need your business personal property, so all the tools that is required, and then
Right.
anything in terms of what is it, tenants improvements and betterments. So TIBs is what we call it in the insurance world.
Yeah.
And those things are things that are adhered or built into the property, and those things actually have a better rating,
Mm.
have a better rating when it comes to your premium. So the reason for it is, if it's, let's say, a lift, right, a car lift, that's built into the
Right.
ground, they're not going to be moving that. So the
Uh huh.
likelihood of them stealing that is going to be very minimal. But
Right.
to an entire handset of tools, yeah, that there's a high chance of them stealing that if they were to just drive by. So again, how the
Oh.
insurance world works is based on statistics and likelihoods of things happening. But yeah,
No.
premise liability. Again, you want again, if premise liability, if someone slips and falls, that's how you look at general liability on a policy. If
Got it.
someone um, if you do some work on a car and they get into an accident and it was faulty work, that could be products and completion. So that you'll see different parts of that in the policy. So in the end, again, you want to make sure you have covered for your tools, covered for if any customers come, slips and falls, and then you want to have workers comp. So if you have employees, it's required by law. So,
Got it.
well, in the state of California, it's required by law. And yeah, if you don't have it, you automatically lose without workers comp. And yeah,
Makes
we've heard
sense.
some stories.
Oh yeah, no,
So
I bet it's always great to be protected, especially as a business owner or just in
right,
general, right? From your
yeah.
different ownership, property, and all that stuff. Do you guys just cover California? Are you only licensed in California? Or are you licensed to do other states as well?
For me personally, I'm only licensed in California. I'm actually been in the thoughts of trying to get my license extended out to Las Vegas, Nevada, or Nevada in general.
Mm.
So just
Oh
because
yeah,
of again us meeting in WealthCon, a lot of my connections have been growing out there as well.
right.
So yeah, that's where I'm looking to potentially expand.
That's good to know, man. Yeah, for sure. I would definitely. I mean, as you know, we you and I have a big network, right? Through attendance of different masterminds and workshops, things like that. And so
Yeah,
it's good for our audience to know that, hey, potentially anybody that's in California and maybe hopefully soon in Nevada as well, that they can reach out to you, Daryl, and get some help because it's very, very important for us to be protected, as you know. And as on the business side of things now on your end, let's say somebody would want to be to get into the insurance space, right? Somebody just graduated, from college, or they want to have a change of career. To become an insurance agent, you have to be obviously licensed, right? So you got to go through formal education and training, right?
yeah, that's correct. Really quick though, I want to kind of backtrack just to one more particular coverage that most business owners
Sure.
are
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
aware of. And what that
Yeah. For
is, it's
sure.
called business income replacement. So let's say, for
Mm,
example, going back to that automotive repairs place, let's say
right.
their employees or someone randomly ran into the building and the entire building caught on fire. And what they were doing monthly, let's say, was like $10,000 in service. And they
Mm,
tracked everything. Their books are up to date. What farmers would do, they would come out and take a look at
yeah.
come out and take a look, evaluate it, take a look at your book of business, showing that it was accurate. Farmers would go out and then pay, $10,000 for the estimated time it should take to repair. So let's say it's going to take 2 months, and you made 10,000 bucks a month. They would pay out 20,000 in total in terms of the frequency, like how often they would make that payment. I'm unsure of, but that's how the coverage would
Yeah.
work. So it's what you actually lost. So and then what you as the business owner, what they could do whatever it is that they want with that money ideally, but what some good business owners have done is to use that money to then pay the wages of their managers, because they realize by keeping on their managers, when their business reopens, they're able to hit the ground running once again. So that's
That's
one coverage that most people overlook. And then the
yeah.
other one is called EPLI, employer
EPL.
practice liability insurance. So where this comes to play is really I think one of the biggest peace of mind a business owner could buy. So for example, again, you're talking about how does someone get into the insurance world. Let's say I bring someone on, they could do the work, they're competent, but I let them go because they don't speak Spanish, and
Uh,
they because like 90% of my books speak Spanish, and if I brought
in
them on,
Bakersfield.
yeah, in Bakersfield, and so let's say for example I let this person go because they don't speak Spanish, then I could potentially be sued for being discriminatory, right?
Hmm.
And if they end up suing me for that, what ends up happening is if I didn't have EPLI, employer practice liability insurance, I would have to lawyer up myself and
Mm,
fight that. Or if I had that coverage, I would call my insurance agent. Hey, Daryl, this is what's going on. What do I do here? File the claim. The insurance company will mount up the defense and help take care of that for you to address it and settle it.
I
So
see.
again, you
Gotcha.
could
That's
either
fair.
pay for it yourself or you could have the insurance company take care of it and you don't really have to worry too much where to pay too much out of pocket. It's a different deductible, but again, you have professionals that are there to help support business owners, especially if your network is not big.
I think
So
that's mandatory, in my opinion, just in case, as a business, right? We want to grow, and obviously,
yeah,
part of growing is getting new team members, to be part of the company and the business itself. So as you grow, I think it's definitely going to help out, get your have the peace of mind knowing that if it does happen, that you are protected. So that's pretty cool. And
yeah.
no, that's awesome.
And I was gonna add on too, Jay, was that again because I was looking at your hair, I was like, because we're talking about coverages, right? So we took like think of a barber shop, right, or a hair salon. Uh,
Yeah.
from like again for most people, especially for 1099 people that just rent out a chair. Um, the person
Yeah.
who owns that barber shop should ideally have all their barbers or hairstylists have their own general liability policy. But then on top of general
Mm.
liability, they need to have professional liability. So, to give you an example, general liability is me walking into a salon or a barber shop and they're just compressing the air and just pushing it out from their chair, but it's now in the walking area. I slip and fall. That is a general
Hmm.
liability issue. Okay. So a
Right.
professional liability would be is I'm coloring your hair and then I burn your scalp or I cut
Mm.
off your ear. That's
Hmm.
professional liability. So most people in those industries only have general liability for themselves, if that, or they're falling underneath the owner of the barbershop. And hopefully, the barbershop has both general liability and professional liability. And to be honest, most don't, and it's worrisome.
Right. Wow. Um. So, could you share like a horrible story that you've come across? I know there's probably quite a few, but can you just share one that you remember that's like very bad for somebody who did not have that proper insurance?
Well, not necessarily when it comes to like professional liability, but just say something as simple as not adding on a vehicle to a commercial policy. So
Hmm.
again, we do commercial auto policies. So if you have a car that you use for business purposes, I would say if you're using your vehicle for money making activities, you most
Yeah.
likely need a commercial auto policy. And the reason for
Mm.
that is that if you are, let's say you even have a magnet on your car and you get into an accident, um, you have a potential chance of your claim being not covered. Or should I say, you
Ooh.
have a questionable claim. Okay.
Yeah.
So because you're using your personal vehicle for business use, those are two separate risks. So
Right.
that's why business owners need to be aware of that. So there is, let me see what example. Let's say a workers' comp example, right? In the state of
Yeah.
Texas, it's not necessary. Like it's not required by the state. But if you do have a workers' comp related claim, you pretty much lose. So this guy had a very successful auto repair service business actually, and what ended up happening is that they had the lift from the center. So there was a vehicle that was going through, caught the other person, caught one of the
Mm.
employees, and his back twisted, was paralyzed,
Oh my
and pretty
gosh.
much the owner of the business lost his shop, lost his boats, his multiple homes, um, and pretty much it was he was in the courtroom seeing everything just being stripped away from him. And then the owner ended
Damn.
up trying to speak up, and the judge like, hey, one more peep out of you, you're out of here. Like, really, this is just a courtesy for you to be here. Right? So
Mm,
it's yeah, it could get that serious, but even something, let's say on a smaller scale of not having
right.
proper insurance coverage. So what we're experiencing in California is that we're having rate increases. And we could always talk about that one later, but we're having rate increases where people are not wanting to pay their premium, or they're not happy
Mm,
with it. So they go out and shop, their policies cancel, and now they have to wait. So now let's say
yeah.
the waiting period for most companies are on, for us is 25 days. So now
Uh-huh.
imagine a handful of people driving without insurance for 25 days because they
Right.
decided to let their insurance, cancel.
Yeah.
So now, let's say, Jay, you're driving, you're with your son, and someone hits you and they have no insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say it's 5,000 bucks. 5,000
Yeah.
bucks yet for medical bills related stuff. Again, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your son's fault.
Yeah.
So you're going to go back after the other person, but if the person doesn't have insurance and he wasn't paying for insurance in the first place, probably doesn't have $5,000.
Right.
So
Right.
if you have the proper insurance of having underinsured or uninsured motorists, that's where that could come from your own policy. Because other than that, you would have to sue them, and you would have to go through that whole legal process, and that could take a long time for 5,000 bucks.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
So again, that's just on a smaller scale. But again, this is probably one of my biggest fears right now is people being underinsured because there's people out there not paying their bills on times and things like that that are forcing them to pay 6 months of premium up front. And for some people,
Mhm.
that's $2,000, and for others, that could almost be like $6,000 to $8,000.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's just because they're not paying on time, or they put their policy in notice of cancellations, and it's sad to see, but it's more about having good clients and people who really value insurance. So we'll see how things are going to play out the next couple months.
Yeah. Wow, man. No, that's good information. That's good information. Um, let's see. Yeah, going back to kind of like on the business side of things on your end, right? So you have a small team, and so do I,
Hmm.
for a service-based business, and I believe that you are as well in your space. um,
Yeah,
on the insurance in the insurance world, if you're comfortable at talking about it, not necessarily your specific income and revenue, but
sure.
let's say for a business owner in the insurance space, what is ideally a typical revenue on an annual basis on average that one can get?
You know, Yeah, transparently speaking, I've spoken with other agents too. Just the insurance world in general is a tough industry for the reasons that
Hmm.
it doesn't, because this business is built on renewals. So
Hmm.
starting off is really tough if you're starting from scratch. If you could take
Right.
over an existing book of business, that's where it makes more sense, because if you sell or finance it, or get financing from a bank, and the business is already cash flowing after if it's already cash flowing, then you could be paying off that loan
Yeah.
and continue building the business. So that's what I
Yeah.
would recommend if you're looking to become a business owner in the insurance world, is try to find an existing book of business for sale. And I'm sure
Mm.
with all the education and the network that you have, Jay, is that you're seeing where there's still a transition of wealth, a transition of businesses, of people looking to retire but yet don't have family that want to take it over, or they're looking
Yes.
to sell it, right?
Yeah. That's exactly what Cody Sanchez talks about, Grant Cardone, Manny Koshman, and even Brandon Dawson. That we're in a time period where a lot of the baby boomers are retiring, who are entrepreneurs and business owners, and most of the time, their own family members does not want to take ownership or take over that business. So what happens is that
Right.
they end up either having to shut down or you know uh, preferably sell it. And a lot of the times they'd rather sell it and get something back. And that's where potential business owners like yourself and I could say, hey, I'm buying this business from you. Like to say, for example, you Daryl, if you were a baby boomer retire, you just want to let it go, probably get a good price and
Yeah.
potentially even do a seller finance on that.
Yeah.
So
No, for
yeah, that's
sure.
pretty
There's
awesome.
that, and
That's
then
so definitely great advice.
yeah, and again too, just like in anything, that if you're looking to buy a business, you want to get the reasonable amount of information to see how the business is performing, and that could always
Right.
look in many different ways. Um,
Hmm.
from my experience, uh, they would take a you could take a look at how the book has been performing. Has the count gone up? Has the count
Right.
gone down? Um, well, that was at my experience, and I think some things have changed over time. But ideally, again, you want to know, is the business producing anything? There's agents that have been
Yeah.
around longer than I have, 30 plus years, making 5 figures a month, um, like
Hmm.
a solid 5 figures a month. But again, it took them 30 years to get there. Again,
Wow.
this business is built on your referrals, built on your network. And if you could do
Mm.
that in this
And the
world,
market as
well,
well,
pretty much,
right?
yeah, just in general, I was about to say, it just in general
Hmm.
is like where you'll be able to, um, make your move. So again, I think it comes also down to like your quality of life. Like again, being an insurance agent, it's not made for everyone. Again, it's
Hmm.
essentially sales, and some people could have a bad connotation to it, and I did at one point because I thought I was like a sleazy car salesman, and I had to overcome that and how to actually look at it of providing
Yeah.
value, right? Versus like,
Hmm.
oh,
Yeah. You
here,
do.
you need help, and give me it. So,
No,
yeah,
absolutely.
you know.
I mean, no, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, Daryl, it's we're all in sales, right? If you're an
Hmm.
entrepreneur in business, whether you're provide products or services, you're in sales. It doesn't have
Yeah,
to be
even
in
your W
cars,
two.
insurance. Yeah, absolutely. Like we're
Yeah,
so, for example, in my business, right, my recruiting agency, we're my team of recruiters, we recruit, but we're a b2b, so essentially what we do is we reach out to decision makers from small to medium-sized enterprises, corporations, and see if they'd be willing to work with us. So a lot of the times myself and another team member are the ones who hops onto these sales calls, and
yeah,
we essentially have to sell ourselves why they should work with us. And then on the candidate side, when once they do work with us, when we're recruiting for top talents, typically, they're not. Most of them are not already like most of them are not in the job, like they're not in the market. They're already employed by good companies and all that stuff. So for
right.
us, to find the best candidates for some of these roles that we're filling, like we have to headhunt, and essentially headhunting is finding these top candidates from these other companies and essentially kind of you know and to say, if you kind of poach them and say, hey, we have this opportunity with this particular new business, and would you be interested to kind of talk about that, and how you could potentially get that roles filled, and all that. So we
Hmm.
still sell the candidate. We look into it. So yeah, I think
For sure.
every type of business are in sales. So
Yeah. I mean, even just like with your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, where do you want to eat? He was like,
yeah,
again, one wants Italian, one wants Mexican food, and then you got to negotiate on which one you want to go to. It really comes down to like the
compromise.
fundamentals of everything, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why yeah, Cardin Enterprise. I don't know if you had a chance to look into the university. Basically, what there's thousands of training segments in there. I'm talking about thousands. Like I'd say probably 80,000 to $100,000 worth of training, and this training specifically is for sales, marketing, and mindset, money mindset, and
Uh
all
huh.
that stuff. And a lot of it is Grant Cardone is the one who's training it, so it's pretty cool. But
Oh, that's
like
awesome.
I don't know if you had a chance to look into that, but myself and my team members, we train on it on a daily basis, at least 30 minutes a day to to you know get our knowledge up to speed and sharp on sales, handling different objections, things like that. So, and we're in
Yeah.
recruiting, right? So, but I think it's definitely good. I don't know if you had a chance to look into that, but I would definitely look into uh, other form. I don't know if you're already doing some kind of sales training with farmers. I'm sure they have something already in place, but nonetheless, it's definitely a good opportunity.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm always open to learn more about different things, different approaches. Things are forever changing. Again, the things that are forever constant in our life is death, taxes, and change, right? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, right now we have two outside sources for training in terms of sales for customer service as well as like sales approaches dealing with objections, and I think that's what most people what I've realized more is sales is definitely the place to be if you want to make
Mm-hmm.
money, especially if you're in a W-2 position,
Yeah,
because it's uncapped. They want to keep you there as long as possible, as long as you perform honestly, right? But
yeah,
what you get out of that is a skill that they cannot take away from you. And that
a hundred
skill
percent.
is what's going to give you so much value, uh, and give you so much self confidence, especially if you're
Mm,
successful, because your communication skills are on point. You're that much better as a connector. You're
Listener,
was it a solution seeker? You're taking away excuses. You try to solve the problem, and
right?
with all that entailed, who wouldn't want to work with that type of individual, no matter what industry? Because you're moving the
Absolutely.
ball forward in business, in life, and you sell yourself on just to be a better person at that point.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you on that, and that's why I love sales. And I always recommend the younger generation, if they're looking for a job opportunity, is to get into sales because, like you said, the skills that they learn from that experience, it's going to take them many ways in different avenues. It doesn't even matter what industry you're in, because that
Right.
alone is like very helpful for a lot of different businesses. And yeah, I completely agree with that. A matter of fact,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who the specific the top salesperson is for one of Cardone or in Cardone Enterprises, but from what I heard, that in 2022, just last year, he made as a sales guy around $900,000, like in
Wow.
income, bro. Um, that's amazing. You're a W-2 employee. You get base pay, and the reason that a lot of these sales guys from Cardone makes a lot of money is because they spent a lot of money on marketing, and they do
Mm-hmm.
help out thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and a lot of the people are warm leads already, people that have to opt in, and so all they do is do a lot of follow-ups. And because of the sales
Yeah.
training that they provide, they teach and learn on in that as well. A lot of them, bro, they make between, I don't know, three to between so far, that people that I've met, the lowest earner was around $300,000 last year to 400, 5, 6, 700, and then the highest one that I met was around 900 and some change. Dude,
Wow.
if I was to ever have to start over again, um, I'm gonna get into the sales, because the opportunities. quite limitless. And as you said, like you can make a lot of money.
Yeah. And again, I understand money is not everything, but it's pretty close up there with breathing, right?
No, absolutely. Money does not make you completely happy, but it solves a lot of problems. It does help with
Exactly.
happiness. Let's forget anybody that tells you that money doesn't make you happy is lying to you. But it definitely makes life easier for sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the to your question of like getting into the insurance, well, yeah, there's like the whole legal part. Well, not legal, but you do have to put in hours. You need to put in your hours to get your license. You have to study and you have to go and pass the tests
Right.
for your personal line side, your commercial side, and then eventually, if you want to become an agent too, you want to get your life insurance as well as your health insurance license, and you normally could take those two together. There's programs out there to help you pass your test. They have a guarantee of what you call it. If you don't pass the first time, you could use their course again to help you pass the second attempt.
That's
But yeah, from
cool.
there, it's a lot from what I've learned is active listening, your communication skills, build how you build rapport, your follow up, your own personal discipline, and it's so very interesting to see that how someone's physical body, like how they take care of themselves, reflects on how their business performs, and
Mm.
that could be personal and professional. And so it's been interesting. Again, for me, it's like I know I need to lose some weight, but I know when I was healthier, I noticed that I was getting a lot more stuff done. I was a lot more proud of the certain things I was doing, and so now,
Hmm.
it was more encouraging. So I could see how my own health affects the way I operate, I think, and so, yeah,
Right.
working on that journey to get back. So,
That's awesome, man. Definitely a matter of fact, part of my new business venture that I'm in, and you might have seen me promote it, is with Partner Co. It's a brand new health and wellness company, and essentially what I do is basically I'm
mm,
a brand ambassador, a partner, and uh, what does the business does, partner code, they have a lot of natural products for obviously health and wellness, preventive
yeah,
maintenance, things that's going to help you like stay healthy and all that stuff. And also they have these amazing products. They call it slender riser, or we call them skinny drops. Essentially, you take it 3 times a day
yeah,
right before you eat, and it balances your hormones and obviously curbs your appetite and everything else. Studies have
yeah,
shown it's actually better than those shots that's kind of been in the market. I
yeah.
forget what it's called, but have you heard of diabetic shots? Like it helps with losing weight. Um,
No, I haven't heard
but
about that.
anyways, oh yeah, so there's those. I heard that's great. And then they did some more studies on these products compared to that, and it's actually been proven scientifically that these drops, because of this natural, there's no side
Yeah,
effects, and it actually helps you lose a lot more weight, and faster. So, yeah, man, that's pretty cool that you're in that journey for sure.
yeah.
But
I saw my wellness doctor just past Monday, and
mhm,
he's an active learner, and he came back from a conference recently, and what he shared was the mitochondria is like the
mhm,
cell that's the foundation to everything, and so if you can
yeah,
make your mitochondria better, it makes everything else better. So I'm curious to see, again, if any of that research connects it to that, because that'd be a great selling point, or great
yeah.
benefit point, because you're hitting it at the foundation of where everything starts.
Right. That's a great question, man. I'm going to ask them because they do product overview with the corporate Mondays and
Yeah.
Wednesday nights. Um, I'll definitely would like to invite you to kind of hear about those kind of products and all that stuff just to see. But nonetheless, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. With I do have a follow up question in regards to
Please.
what you and I have been doing, right? And again, thank you for being here because you provided so much value already. But in regards to the networking piece, um,
Yeah.
obviously you started doing WealthCon, and that's where you and I connected. But
hmm
what are your thoughts in networking as a entrepreneur or as a business owner?
Yeah. No, well, first of all, I got to say thank you again for being you, because like again, your
Thanks. Yeah.
personality was open enough to allow me in to chat with you. And I think too, to give props to Ryan, because that's really the community of people he has attracted, right?
Yeah.
Ever
Right.
since I known you, you want to deliver value. You want to be able to help connect people, just like Justin Brigado, LJ
Yeah.
out in San Diego. Again, it was like, it was like a group of Filipinos that came together. And honestly, me growing up, I actually got along with more Mexicans than I did my own people, believe it or not.
You know what's funny?
And so for me, what's that?
Sorry to cut you off there. I was the same way as a kid. I hang out with a lot more Mexicans than, and I grew up in San Jose, California, so it's a pretty diverse, melting pot. But
Yeah.
predominantly where I lived, there was a lot of more Mexicans than Filipinos. West side versus the east side of San Jose, so it's kind of like one of those things. But yeah, I could definitely resonate with that. But yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, again, with us being able to meet, it was very, I was, that day when we met too, I came late.
Oh, did you?
I was leaving. I left around like 6 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning from
Yeah,
Bakersfield to get to Ryan's
Vegas.
office before the event started. But then what ended up happening, it was like I got a flat tire. So when I finally
Oh,
arrived, I got there right when everyone was starting to eat lunch.
I see.
And so there's a point to this story, but yeah, after that again, I missed the opportunity to kind of get to know people ahead of time.
Yeah,
And me going into this, I already thought, I was a pretty solid extrovert. But then what I realized when I got out there, I was like, I have no idea of like who these people are. I have no idea what the real estate market is other than owning a home and having rentals,
yeah,
but I didn't know the lingo. So what ended up happening was everyone ended up leaving Ryan's office, and the all-star peoples were there. And
yeah,
so what I did, I was like, I paid too much money to be here. I am not just leaving, not getting to know anyone. So that's after meeting you guys and everyone taking off. I sat in Ryan's lobby area to the entire building and hope someone to walk by so I could try to start a conversation as they're coming in or leaving from the bathroom.
yeah,
And I was there like solid 2 hours afterwards, and I was able to talk to one guy who has zero employees, but he I found out he had VAs, but he was doing a couple million for
yeah,
his business. And I
yeah.
was like, what in the world? So like my mind was just being blown of like the possibilities, and that's the power of networking. Essentially, you don't know who you're going to meet and what you're going to learn, and
Absolutely.
you never know, maybe later down the line this person could be a customer or a resource or even just a cheerleader to help support you. And
Yeah,
so that was the first day. And then the next day, you know it's we're networking, because sometimes some people just don't network um, properly.
you're
And I
right.
guess that's not leveraging the people who they already know, right? So that's why it's
Mhm.
called your network. And so like when I met you, whenever I saw you around, I was like, I'm like, hey, what's up, Jay? Good seeing you. And then I'll do that with Justin as well. And so depending on the situation, the when I know for a fact, if I see Justin, I say, what's up, Justin? He's talking to people. He's like, hey guys, have you guys met Daryl yet? No, he's Daryl, my insurance guy. Hey, and then he does a quick intro, and then he goes back into what he's talking about. And then that's
Yeah,
my opportunity to either take advantage of that and introduce myself and talk more, or just like, hey guys, and I'm out of here. And that'll be on me. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, when you're very intentional about helping your network grow and helping other people win, um, that's where networking becomes a lot more fun, because as you expand your network, you have people with different experience, different perspectives, different resources that could help you get your help you win your goals, essentially.
right.
So like for example, like what I was just thinking was like your book, right? We were just talking about it yesterday. and how you want to get it out there, trying to get you. Let's just see how we can get you in front of some people. I reached out to my network with the Kern Women Business Center, seeing if we could get your
Yeah.
books in front of the students that I'll be looking to teach. As well as they're having a veteran, because you're a veteran. They're having a veteran event in November, and so yeah, seeing if we could get you to speak, as well as a good order of your books for the guests, and getting you connected with potentially 26 other organizations that's veteran related. Like, to me, just the possibility of that is even on the table right now gets me so
Mhm.
excited, and is like an example of what networking can do for an individual, to either be a recipient of that, or to even be a giver from that position of networking.
Right. And I definitely have seen you, man, for the time that I've known you, Daryl. You've been a great connector. You're a go giver. You're a servant leader. From what I've seen, I respect that a lot about you because that's who I believe who I am. I'm a go giver first, and I always want to try to provide value to others first because I believe that everything else comes, tenfold after that. That's just my belief as a
Yeah,
young
man.
kid, and just kind of resonated with me the entire time as an adult. And that's just how I've been operating, man. And so, same thing with you. You provided me with so much value. Nothing, you're not asking for stuff in return. So I definitely respect that, bro, and I love that about you as well. But yeah, essentially, like, as a network, like, if you're in business or you're in kind of trajectory to be an entrepreneur, it's very important for you to surround yourself with a lot of people that are in that space that could hopefully teach you one thing or another, right? So,
Hmm.
but I love the fact that you emphasize how important networking is, and no, that's pretty cool, bro. Um, let's see here. I mean, this has been really fun. I'm looking at the time. You've actually been, well, for the most part, been one of the longer podcast episode that we've so far recording right now. So by the time this get
Yeah,
put on live on YouTube, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna learn from the insurance side of things and how important it is for one to have it, whether even if you don't even have to be a business owner, just to be protected. And for
yeah,
me, I can get insurance on something in my business, my cars, and whatever it is, my home and whatnot. I I opt in for that because of the fact that I like having a peace of mind that if
yeah,
something does happen, I'm protected because I have heard stories of other people who did not have the proper coverage and it lost them their properties and things like that. So it's important
yeah.
to have that. And so so me, in my opinion, what you guys do out there in your space is very important. So yeah, thank you, man. But yeah, other than
Thank you.
that, for the audience that would like to reach out to you to ask for advice or just want to follow your journey in the
Sure.
business, where can they find you at?
Yeah. Again, I don't know. I forgot how it shows up on what do you call it? On YouTube, but right here, Daryl, my insurance guy.
Yeah,
That's my Instagram handle, Daryl, my insurance guy. Again, you could always text us at the office, 661-326-7200 as well. You could always call us there. Yeah, but I'm fairly active on Instagram right now. So
yeah.
you guys could definitely reach out to me there. I'll be happy to help in any way possible. Again, all I could do is just share what has worked for me, and then
Yeah.
you could take with it and do as you wish.
Well, you're definitely somebody who's honest. I think you operate under integrity as well. So for our viewers who are in California, because that's where they're licensed at, certainly reach out to my friend.
Yeah,
We'll take great care of you guys. I'm pretty certain of it. But yeah, so for everybody who's watching right now, I'm hoping that you got some great positive content information from Daryl, as I did as well. So Daryl, thank you for hopping on. I know you're a busy guy. I've kept you here for long enough, and I just want to say thank you for hopping onto this episode and talking about the insurance space and how important it is to have, and also in the business side of things as well for anybody that would be interested to get into the insurance space. definitely reach out to Daryl as well. So for my viewers, hopefully you enjoyed this, like I mentioned. So if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode. D, thanks so much, brother, and we'll talk again soon, man.
Thank you, Jay. Look forward to doing it again. Take it easy, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thanks, brother.